Hello, everybody. I'm excited. It's my first show. I guess everybody goes through this when they get on YouTube. It's like, okay, this is my first show. This is my first show. It's my first show. Okay. I figure you should tell a little bit about yourself. So, my name is Allison Johnson. This show is called Pulling a Black Card. I was a stand-up comedian for a while. I was teacher for 20 years, and then an actress as well, and then and I did one-woman shows in theater, and then the pandemic, and so I kept saying I'm gonna do a YouTube show. I'm gonna do a YouTube show, and so here it is, and my first show. This is it. And I hope you enjoy it. I wanted to talk about something that is close and true to my heart. It's the Black Panthers party, and this October, I am celebrating with them the 55th anniversary of when Bobby Seale and Huey P. Newton, they got together. They co-founded the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. Yes. And it began with them just policing the police, you know? And I thought to myself, wow, what would Huey P. Newton think? And I would love to be able to talk to Bobby Seale and find out, what does he think about the Black conscious movements of today and what they're doing? And how I see it as it's all about the bag. It's really not about the community and what we need. Because that's what the Black Panther Party did. They saw what the community was lacking, and they filled that void. And I think that's what any kind of organization for any people, especially I'm talking about Black people, but any people that are going through some oppression and injustice, that's what you're supposed to do. They really thought it out, and they came up with a 10-point program, and it still rings true to today. These are the things we need that is on that 10-point program.
I got to explain to you also your soul, your needs, your political desires and needs, because that is Huey's soul. When we first organized the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, he would say, Bobby, he says, we're going to draw up a basic platform, just basic, that black people can read. He says, we don't want to go real elaborate with all these essays and dissertations and all this stuff, because the brother going to look at that and he can say, man, I ain't got time for that. I got to go see what I can do for myself. He said, just a basic platform that the mothers who struggle hard to raise us, that the fathers who worked hard, that the young brothers in school who come out of school semi-illiterate. You say, we want freedom, we want power to determine the destiny of our black community. Full employment for our people. Number 3, we want housing fit, decent housing fit for shelter of human beings. Number 4, we want all black men to be exempt from military service. Number 5, we want decent education for our black people in our community that teaches us the true nature of this decadent racist society, and to teach black people and our young black brothers and sisters their place in the society, because if they don't know their place in society and in the world, they can't relate to anything else. Number 6, we want an end to the robbery by the white racist businessman of black people and black people in their community. Number 7, we want an immediate end to police brutality and murder of black people. Number 8, we want all black men held in county, state, federal jails and prisons to be released because they have not had a fair trial, because they've been tried by all white juries, and that's just like being tried in Germany being a Jew. Number 8, We want black people, number 9, when brought to trial, to be tried by members of their peers. And a peer being one who comes from the same economic, social, religious, historical, and racial background. If the United States government and the courts and the local courts did this, they would have to choose black people from the black community to sit up on the jury. They'd have to choose some of them mothers who've been working 20 years in Miss Ann's kitchen scrubbing floors like my mother done done. They have to choose some of them hard-working fathers. They have to choose some of those brothers who stand on the block out there wondering where they're going to get a gig. They're going to have to choose these black people. And number 10, Huey say, let's just summarize it. We want housing, we want clothing, we want education, we want justice, and we want peace.
So the Black Panther Party was so radical in realizing that free health care is a right. Before any of these so-called, well, I call them basic politicians, they now come, oh, we should have free health care. Well, the Black Panther Party, they thought of that way back then, health care. And they didn't just think of it like many of these organizations. They get mad about something, they march, they scream, they holler, and then you hear no more about it. You don't see them in the community. The Black Panther Party, you saw them in the community. They were there, and they had free clinics, and they made sure that if you had no money, you could go into that clinic, you could take your baby or your child in that clinic, and you get the care you needed. Yes, and then there's sickle cell anemia, something that black people suffer from at such a higher rate than whites, and that's why they didn't put any time or effort or money behind it, and they did not test people for it, and so they began testing for sickle cell anemia. They, when they started, had tested more people than the government had in many of the clinics and hospitals.
Seale was a physician to the Black Panthers, though he wasn't a party member.
They were not just people in black jackets carrying guns. They were interested in actually doing something for the community.
The Black Panthers focused more on what they call survival programs, things like food assistance, free education, free legal aid. And one of their top priorities was free community health care.
Most of our civilized countries will provide these services for the people. The Panthers realized that we didn't have a civilized country. We were not providing these services for the people.
As a young doctor, Small treated political activists like Angela Davis and George Jackson in prison. And when Bobby Seale issued a directive for all chapters to establish free health clinics in 1970, the Black Panther Party turned to Dr. Small to help build the program.
I had all the pharmaceutical companies donating medicines to the George Jackson Free Clinic. I had doctors volunteering, nurses volunteering, med techs volunteering. Government was not prioritizing sickle cell anemia for the same reason that Jackie Robinson had to be the first black baseball player in 1948. For the same reason that the black troops were segregated during World War II. There was racism in this country. Sickle cell anemia was a disease that affected mostly black folks.
Then there's education. Oh, there's so many people in the black community that are always screaming about education. We need a better education. I know about this because I was a teacher. And there's a man, I don't want to start no beef, but by the name of Umar Johnson that has collected a lot of money. And I don't know if he made the right decisions with that money because there's still no school, okay? I have heard of no curriculum that he has. I just hear that he's going to do a Pan-African. You know, it's just so... oh my goodness, Black Panther Party, they figured we needed a school. They made it happen. They made things happen.
California, where we'll go to the Oakland Community Learning Center. This is a school that was started by a political organization in the black community of Oakland. Before you can really appreciate a visit to this school, you'll probably need some background information. Well, back in the 60s, a man named Huey Newton started a group called the Black Panthers. They were a very controversial outfit back then because they were critical of the way in which the local police behaved in their community. Many of their members, including Huey, were arrested, and some even served time in jail for their activities. Many people know of the Panthers because of their run-ins with the police, but there's another side to this organization. In Oakland, in many ways a poor community, the Panthers are also known for their projects like the breakfast program for school children and for the Community Learning Center. When we visited the center, we saw that they had a different approach to teaching and learning. We're going to be meeting a student at the Learning Center, a young lady named Kalita, and when the film opens, Kalita is interviewing Huey Newton, founder of the Black Panthers.
Where did you come from?
Well, I was born in Louisiana, in the South, in Monroe, Louisiana. And I came, my family came to Oakland when I was about 1.5. So I've been here about, 34 years. I'm 35 now. I'm an old man. But I went to about every school in Oakland. We moved a lot.
What was it like in your school?
We were being taught mostly about white people. We didn't have any books of our own, so it wasn't. We didn't feel that that the school was teaching us anything about ourselves. So it was a great problem in school for me and for the teachers, and that's why as I grew older, I always felt that. As I grew older and learned about our true history, that Africa, before its conquest, was a beautiful, cultured country, and we had great universities in Timbuktu, and I started to look at myself and get a new interest in education.
Edith Smith. I'm 8.5 years old. I live in Oakland, California. I go to school at the Oakland Community Learning Center. My school was started by the Black Panther Party. The earliest age you start going to this school is when you're 2.
You say, sí quiero. David. Bueno. Okay.
We don't have grades in our school. We have levels.
Manzanas. ¿Te gustan manzanas?
They put us in different levels based on what we can do.
¿Te gusta? ¿Te gusta?
The schools, everything was a problem. For example, they used to serve cookies and I think graham crackers and milk in the morning to children in primary school who had the money to pay for it. And if you didn't have the money to pay for it, you had to put your head on the desk until the other kids finished eating. I always thought that was very bad, but at the Oakland Community School, everybody eats.
My school serves us breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Because sometimes your mother or father or whoever you're living with probably don't have enough food for you. Some of the people who serve food are teachers.
And we got such great leaders from that organization. We got Huey P. Newton, we got Bobby Seale, we got Angela Davis, we got H. Rap Brown, we got Stokey Carmichael. Well, I could go on and on, but we can't leave out the great chairman, Fred Hampton, who was murdered, taken from us, but most of all taken from his family.
It said after this, and after I'm locked up, and after everybody's locked up, that you can jail revolutionaries, but you can't jail a revolution. Right. You might run a liberator like Eric Cleave out the country, but you can't run liberation out the country. You might murder a freedom fighter like Bobby Hutton, but you can't murder freedom fighting. And if you do, you come up with answers that don't answer, explanations that don't explain. You come up with conclusions that don't conclude.
Want when people think of the Black Panther Party to not think of this, some of these movies and some of these stories that they're giving us. They're either they talk of it like it was just something they did, and they wore these leather jackets, could put together a gun and take a gun apart. It was more than that. It was about social programs. Of course, it was about policing the police and self-defense. We need that because, look, we got these no-knock warrants going on still. We're being murdered in the street still. So we listen. I know so many people say, but we've come such a long way. But baby, we got a long way to go. So I want to wish the Black Panther Party, and I want to give flowers to these people. Many of them are gone, but many are alive. And the Black Panther Party was a great social program, a revolutionary program, and they didn't just stop out of the blue. We have these organizations, they're more like slogans, something to say. Yeah, it's nice that they wrote Black Lives Matter on the streets of Pennsylvania Avenue. I guess that's where it's at. But they raised millions of dollars. So I asked this question, where the money at? Last thing, and putting the light on things is a beautiful thing, but they keep giving us trinkets, a bunch of statues, or they tearing down a statue, and that's supposed to make us happy. And then they put up a statue. No, can I have some reparations, please? Can I have some reparations with that statue? Okay? We built America. And the Black Panther Party made us feel so good about ourselves. So, yeah, I'm hyped because I want people to remember them as they were. A great organization who was torn down by the government and FBI and that Hoover fella who liked the, well, let me not try to talk about, I don't got time for him. But they were torn apart. It would still be growing and growing and growing. Who knows where the Black Panther Party would have gone if they wouldn't have been interrupted and aborted in the manner in which they were. They always say, why don't black people pull themselves up by the bootstraps? But then when we get something going, and things are working in our community, and we giving back, and doing the things we should, building whole towns. Remember Black Wall Street? What do? They destroy it. So do they really want us to be this independent, wonderful race of people? Listen, we was promised a mule and 40 acres. I would like that. But most of all, I would like for us to not be murdered in the streets. I want our babies to eat and get good health care. I want nothing but the best for everyone in general. Like, we want the best. You know when the problem really got bad? When Fred Hampton and party members of the Black Panther Party were able to get poor whites to see, listen, y'all going through some of the same things we going through. If we merge together, can you imagine what we can do? They don't want to see things like that. They want to keep us focused on these other things, these distractions. Brothers and sisters, don't be distracted. Don't be distracted. And don't let people give you the wrong history. Because people in power think they can just make any type of history up. But we know the truth. We know the facts. Yes. So, I want y'all to have a blessed, wonderful, wonderful, lovely night. I love you all. This is Pulling the Black Card. I'm Allison Johnson. Peace.